please. Thank you. Um, so we're going to be recording this meeting tonight. It will be available in a couple of days on the project website, which is if you go to the easiest thing to do is to go to boston.gov and look and search for Moakley Park, and it should come up. So we are recording this because we know that even though we've done our best to have both an in-person and a virtual engagement, so that we can hear from a variety of voices, we're still missing some people. So it will be available online for your friends and neighbors to share. Um, so if you want to keep your video off, that's fine. We do ask that you keep your microphone off while we're presenting, and then there'll be plenty of opportunities for engagements once we move into some of the smaller group conversations. And you can still continue to chat through the chat feature. Next slide, please. So we're going to be using some breakout rooms later on. So the chat function is really important to be able to capture what some saying. If you would like to share some things in the chat that you don't feel comfortable saying or don't want to lose that thought, you can put it in the chat. We'll respond to it. You can raise and lower your hand through one of the menus on the bottom, and mute and unmute yourself. I think it's also *9 if you're on the phone. And you can turn on and off your video at the bottom with the bottom icons. Next slide, please. So we do want to make sure that that this is a pleasant experience, and everyone who would like to say something is able to say something. So please be respectful of each other's time and each other's comments. If you can limit your questions and allow others who might have questions to participate as well. If you think of questions afterwards, or you're not able to ask a question, or if it comes to you in the middle of the night or when you're washing your hair, that's when I do my best thinking. You can email Marin at marin.braco@boston.gov. It's marin.braco@boston.gov. Next slide, please. So we're going to do a little bit of an introduction to the team, where we've been, where we're going, why we're here, and then break out into breakout rooms. That's where we want to spend the bulk of our time, so we can really get as much information from you and share as much detailed information out as well. And we're going to come back at the end and share out. We heard, make sure we're getting it right, and talk about what you can expect to hear from us in the coming weeks and months. So. With that, I think we'll move into the project team introduction. Next slide. Oh, I think we're going to do a little bit of a quick poll first. So if you can, with your smartphone, you can scan that QR code at the top and join. This is an interactive tool. You can go to slido.com, slido.com. And if we can also drop that in the chat so people could maybe just copy and paste that into another browser. And with that code 2847791, you should be able to share with us. We want to hear from you about where how often you visit the park, whether this is the first time you've ever heard that there's a park in South Boston in this area, or if you're a regular park user. So we can get a sense of how often you all use the park. It seems like a couple more coming in. All right, so it seems like things have, thank you, Jay, for creating that link. All right, seems like a lot of people the majority of people, a few times a year, pretty regularly, about a month, and almost every day. So a lot of really active park users, which is great, that we're here sharing some of the thoughts about the future of the park with people who really know the park really well. All right, we go to the next slide.
We've got one more poll here
Oh,
too.
All right, one more poll. So we would like to hear from you what you're most excited to hear about today. There's some options there: athletics and recreation, ecology and the environment, arts and culture, play, um, technical updates, something else entirely. So what are you most excited to hear about today? We have things that touch on all of these topics uh, in some of our presentation. So really want to hear what people are most excited to hear about. And looks like there's a couple, I think that's the poll numbers maybe growing a little bit, but looks like there's a lot of athletic and recreation users joining us today, which is great. So we have a lot of information about athletics and recreation, and also talking about all the other elements that are going to be in the park as well. So this is great. And I think we are not surprised by these numbers. We know that there's a very active and vibrant athletic and recreation community here at Moakley Park. All right. So this is great information for us to take away. So I want to dive in and introduce you to the team. My name is Kathy Baker Eclipse. I'm the interim commissioner for Boston Parks. I'm also joined by Maren Braco, who is the project manager. Um, so she is the main point of contact for all questions about the project. Really, if you have any follow-up questions, Maren is the first point of contact, um, and really a resource for all of you to get the park that you envision. We're also joined tonight by Chris Osgood, who's the director of the Office of Climate Resilience in the City of Boston. We're also joined by Michael McMillan, who is our community outreach coordinator for the Boston Parks Department. Also joined by Lydia. It's Lydia here. Uh, Lydia
Yeah, she just
Pulaski.
joined.
Oh, great. Welcome, Lydia. She's a great resource for everything that's going on in South Boston. And we've been coordinating very closely with her to make sure that the park reflects what she's hearing in the community as well. Mark McGonigal is also joining us today. He's the Deputy Director of Community Engagement for the Planning Department, and may be familiar to many of you. Unfortunately, Charlie Croners, who is with the Parks Department as a program manager, could not join us today, but he's another important city contributor to this project. And with that, and I think there are also a couple of elected officials joining us tonight. I think somebody from Rep. Beal's office is here as well, and I think I'm not sure if anyone else has joined us, but if there's, we may be able to we may pass it over to them later after we get through some of this table setting presentation that we want to get through. So I'm going to turn it over to Maren now, and she's going to walk you through some more details of the project. Maren? Oh, thank you. And Brian Hurley from Senator Collins' office is also here. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll now introduce our community advisory team on the next slide. Oh, sorry, we've got we've st our sorry our design team here. Many of the folks that will be facilitating the sessions and have produced all of this work. We've got Stoss Landscape Urbanism as the design lead, and Weston and Sampson as our technical lead on this project. We've also been working with Niche Engineering and James Lima Planning and Development. And I'm really excited to introduce the community advisory team. This is a newly formed group helped to ensure that the proposed design meets community needs. Not everyone can make it here today. A lot of them are at the in-person on Saturday, but for those of you that are here, maybe you could raise your virtual hand. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of this team. Uh, the city and the design team will be meeting regularly with this group to review progress. This is a really diverse group selected to represent a range of park users and Southie residents. This group is not put together necessarily to agree on all issues, but to make sure we have space to sort of lean into difficult issues and work through things together collaboratively. And this next slide speaks to our project goals. These were developed quite a while ago, but are still leading sort of the guiding principles that are leading the work today. Uh, we really want to create a park that is open and accessible to all of South Boston for all ages, abilities, and backgrounds. We want to enhance our recreation and play at the park to make sure that we have a really active and well-used park. Create a space in the neighborhood that encourages physical health, mental well-being, and community building, and then also protect South Boston, making it more resilient to coastal and stormwater flooding, reducing urban heat, and increasing biodiversity. And so this image really speaks to the work that we've done on the plan to date, showing you the existing park, all of the feedback we've taken, and how that's informed the design. I'll just go through some of the key themes that have come out of the work to date. So we know that one of the biggest requests is for improved athletic fields. So we'll be improving the fields, the drainage, adding lighting, making sure they're on the dry side of the flood protection. We'll be adding a lot more play areas with different types of play to encourage folks of all ages and abilities to come to the park. We'll be almost tripling the number of trees across the park and then upgrading existing parking lots and adding to other parking lots on the other sides of the park. And Chelsea, did you want to speak through these?
Sorry, everyone. I have two screens going here. Thank you, Merritt. Nice to see everyone tonight. Thank you for your time. We are really excited to have this virtual meeting as a continuation of the engagement that we've sort of restarted. Many of you have been involved in the project over the years, and this past Saturday, we had a big in-person workshop where we had the same materials that we will be interacting with today virtually. So we would love to have your feedback. The purpose of this meeting is really to engage and hear what you have to say at our different stations. So you can see here some of the materials that we will be interacting with on our virtual engagement board, but opportunities for you to vote on different aspects of the design, to show us discrete locations where you think different amenities should be, and really just a time for discussion as well. So we look forward to hearing more and making sure that we are continuing to build upon all of the really wonderful and beautiful things that happen in the park today. So specifically, we'll be getting some feedback on these topics. We kind of mentioned what are you most excited to hear about today in the poll. So definitely opportunities to give your feedback on play, on gathering, resilience, and of course, athletics. And this is all going to be underpinned by, again, what we've heard across the years at different focus groups and different workshops with all of you. So we've heard a lot about gathering already, this idea that there could be space for picnic tables and games, cafe or food truck space, with play and playgrounds. That is really important to make sure that there's space for different ages and abilities. What is something that can make South Boston really distinct and unique from other spaces in the city? With athletics, lots of different feedback here. How can tennis courts that are already really well loved now be added to the future Moakley Park? What does pickleball sort of mean in the future park? We know that's a very popular and increasingly popular sport. And then things like access and amenities. We heard, the need for concessions, clean bathrooms, safe sidewalks, and well-maintained spaces for all generations and for all abilities. So we want to continue to make sure that we hear directly from you, and we'll continue to come back to you in the future and show you how your feedback is incorporated in the design. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Osgood to speak a bit about the existing conditions today.
Chelsea, thank you so much, and thank you to you and to Kathy and to Maren for your leadership on this project. I'm Chris Osgood. I have the great pleasure of leading Boston's Office of Climate Resilience, and I want to thank all of you for being here tonight and for your engagement on this project and projects across the neighborhood. As Maren said, our top priority for this project is to build a great park that works for everybody in the neighborhood. And in order to do that, there are two flooding issues that we want to be able to address. First issue, the first flooding issue is one that many of you are very, very familiar with. It's the ponding that occurs across the park, and particularly the ball fields after a rainstorm. Go to the next slide. The proposed park addresses this issue through a set of green infrastructure and better drainage, really significantly focused around the athletic fields themselves. For folks who are interested in this issue and learning about it and giving feedback on it, I encourage you to visit the athletics breakout room when we head to the next section of this meeting. And then if you go to the next slide. The other flooding issue that we want to make sure that we are addressing comes not from rainfall, but from the ocean itself. And given the storms that we've experienced in 2018 and 2024, many of you are already very familiar with this. And the state projects that for Boston, we are looking at about 40 inches of sea level rise between the start of the century and the 2070s if we do not take action. And so if you go to the next slide, part of the proposed design for this project is to address the coastal flood risk and help protect the homes of South Boston by integrating an elevated walkway between the playing fields and the coastal landscape. For the folks who are interested in this issue, I want to give feedback on this. I encourage you to go to the coastal landscape breakout room and the resilient berm breakout room for our discussions ahead. So thank you again for everybody for being here tonight. Look forward to the discussion later on in this meeting and look forward to the conversations in the months ahead. And I'll turn it back over to Maren.
Thank you, Chris. So I'll just speak to a little bit to sort of the history of the project. So this has been going on for quite a while. As Chris mentioned, this really started with the climate ready planning that started almost a decade ago at this point. We started with a vision plan for the park to thinking about how we could integrate a flood barrier into the park. Since then, there's been subsequent phases of design, engineering, community engagement. I know a lot of you have been involved in previous rounds of this. In the last couple of years, we've been really focused on the first phase of the work and the connectors, which is where the flood protection has to extend to the north and south of the park. So this is really the first time we've been getting together to get feedback on the full park design since 2021. So we're very excited to be here and to have your input. You go to the, okay, bit of a delay on the slides. And so this is just sort of a recap of some of the engagement we've done in the past. Online surveys, virtual meetings like the one we're here today, in-person meetings, some focus groups and tabling at existing events. I just want to point out here that your input really does make a difference. If you look back at the original plan, it's completely changed, and that's all based on feedback we've heard from the community. I think one really big example of that is in the original vision plan, we had included the idea to create Day Boulevard as a shared street to connect the park to Carson Beach. That we were told was not receptive in South Boston and wouldn't work, and so we've taken it out of the plan. And so Day Boulevard will remain open through this proposal. So we want to take the input we've gotten over the last 8 years, build off that. As you'll see in these breakout sessions, we're getting into more details, which is really exciting. A lot of the work has been developed, sort of the overall framework for the park. And we're really excited to start getting some more specific feedback and make sure we've got some of our assumptions right. The other piece of what we've been doing is working with our technical team. So we've got landscape architects and engineers sort of doing a lot of work for us and explaining sort of what we can do, what we can't do, what we could do with a much larger price tag. The site is really complicated, sort of underground. Like much of Boston, it was mud flats at one point and has been filled in. Historically, it was a dump. There are a lot of underground utilities, and so all of that makes the park design very complicated. And one big example of how sort of this technical analysis has led to a big change in the design is through understanding the underground conditions and the soil conditions. We realized after the first phase of work that we needed to push the barrier back away from Day Boulevard so that we weren't putting load and a lot of stress on some MWRA assets that are running within the park. And so we've tried to work through design and technical input to come up with a plan that really sort of makes the most sense for all parties involved.
Hey, thanks, Maren. Hi, everyone. I'm Regan Andriola, part of the design team with Weston and Sampson, and I'm going to talk through a little bit of where we are right now with the design and where we're going to be going next. So next slide. Okay, so here we see the whole park and with the two phases of work that we've currently identified. Phase A is kind of the north third of the park closest to Babe Ruth Park Drive. And yep, exactly right there. And it has a bit of a tail that continues through the middle of the park, and that is the entirety of the resilient berm. Phase B is everything remaining in the rest of the park, and that is includes the stadium and the rest of the design amenities. The Phase A will also incorporate the North Connector piece, and the connectors project started a couple years ago, and that was developed with the understanding of how do we make this continuous flood path beyond the limits of the park on both ends in order to completely close off the flood pathway. So the North Connector is essentially by the MWRA facility and the Bark Park to the north, and then the South Connector goes in front of the State Police Barracks and the future DBC development. We go to the next slide. The schedule here, Maren talked a little bit about the past schedule to get us to this point. Right now, moving forward, both Phase A and Phase B are going to be concurrently being designed with the idea that by the beginning of 2027, we will have a construction-ready project for Phase A, and then the subsequent Phase B will be advancing design. During this stage, we will be continuing this engagement process. We want to do focus groups in the early part of next year in order to continue to gather feedback from the community, which we can then incorporate into both the Phase A and Phase B designs. The idea is that we'll have another big community meeting in the spring and likely again the fall of next year. And then another one, to share out all of this feedback that we've been receiving right before the, hopefully the construction of Phase A. Next slide, please. Okay, this is a little bit of a zoom in of Phase A. Again, Babe Ruth Park Drive is kind of page left here. That's the north corner. Day Boulevard on the top of the page to the east of the park. And you can see here we have this includes a premier baseball field, a parking lot, a community gathering plaza, and the majority landscape, which is on the water side of the resilient berm. And that will include an overlook, walking paths, kind of passive recreation areas on the coastal side. If we move to the next slide. And Phase B, again, and this is the larger extent of the park and kind of the remainder beyond Phase A. Most of this is what falls on the landward side of the berm. This includes soccer fields, 3 additional diamond fields, basketball courts, tennis courts, pickleball courts, community gathering spaces, community gardens, skate park, waterfront plaza, passive recreation areas. So a lot on that piece. And part of our Phase B planning will again be fine-tuning this design, as well as updated cost estimates and determining how best to build out the rest of this park, because it likely won't happen all in one phase. It'll be multiple sub phases to get it done and in as funding and with as little impact to the overall community as possible as we build that out. And I think at that point I'll turn it back to Maren.
Great. I know that we've also gotten a lot of feedback on just the conditions of the park today. And so I want to speak for a minute about what we're doing now to try to address some of those concerns, and then what we're doing as part of this design work to also think about the future of Moakley Park, understanding that to build this incredible park that we've collectively designed together over the last several years, we know that we're going to need to have increased maintenance, increased ability to host events and operate the park. So in the next slide, you'll see we've been working with partners like Boston Harbor Now and South Boston Annexion over the last few years to host monthly cleanups and to do seasonal events, both in the summer and in the winter months at the park. This is a really long-term project, but we want to make sure that we're making small improvements now to improve how the park is experienced today. We've hosted more than 40 monthly cleanups over the last several years. We've recently been more closely coordinated with the Boston Public Health Commission and our maintenance department to ensure that we're having daily sweeps each morning and weekly cleanups in addition to what we've already been doing at the park. And then we've also been working on a parks management study. We've had a bunch of conversations with folks in South Boston. I know some people that are in this room to sort of think about the different ways that we could manage this park to kind of fill the gap between what the Parks Department capacity is and like where we should be. So we've studied 3 different models and have landed on a path forward. We'll be working on this as we work through the design and construction over the next couple of years. So happy to answer more specific questions on that later if that's needed, interest.
Great. Thanks, Maren. Well, as we mentioned earlier, the real sort of meat of this presentation today will be in our breakout rooms. So we're going to get ready to go into those. We would be happy to answer any questions, continue the discussion in those breakout spaces. And you'll see in just a moment that you'll be invited to join one of the topic specific spaces. So again, if you're interested in play and circulation or waterfront and coastal landscape items, athletics, you'll have a room to select. We recommend and are structuring this so that everyone has about 10 minutes in each breakout room. You are welcome to stay longer in the breakout room space, and you are able to choose to leave a breakout room by selecting leave meeting at the bottom of your screen. It'll be just about here. And then this breakout room sort of icon will pop up. You can choose another breakout room space to join. Then you'll be greeted with a screen that says you're joining the breakout room. So you'll be sort of notified when that 10 minutes is up if you choose to move on to another topic. But again, would love to have a conversation with you about what you want to see and what your priorities are for the future of Moakley Park.
I'm
And
going to
finally,
start. Oops, sorry. Go on.
Oh, no worries, Kelly. I will finally just say really quickly, we will be utilizing a platform called Miro. You are welcome to engage in it with us, but we will have facilitators from the design team who will be actively supporting the conversation. So should you desire, you are able to leave us a sticky note. We have some interactive voting platforms. So there's an opportunity for you to, again, capture your feedback on this live Miro board. We will document it and share it back out in the future. But don't feel overwhelmed by this. We are here to help make sure that the conversation is flowing smoothly and we're hearing you. So I just wanted to point out a toolbar, should you choose to engage with it, that you can use on the side of your screen. There is a sticky note here. It'll prompt you to choose a fun sticky note color. We also have a pen tool that might be an easy way for you to provide feedback as well, just should we be sort of sketching together or drawing. That will be made available to you once you're in your breakout room. So we will share that and you can utilize that once you are in your new virtual space. And with that, Kelly, I'm going to go back to this slide just so everyone can see it. I'll invite you to open the breakout rooms.
I'm going to open my breakout rooms, but just 1 second. If you want to switch breakout rooms, don't hit leave meeting. Hit the leave breakout room button. If you leave meeting, you will leave the meeting and then you'll have to come into the meeting just as a flag.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to open the breakout rooms now, so everyone should be able to choose what one they would like to go to.
Okay. Thank you. You may have to scroll down on the list slightly to see that list, but we will see you in the breakout rooms.
According to agent.
So Kelly, um, Mary Moore says she's not seeing any breakout rooms. I'm also not seeing any, but I was just going to stay in the main room. But you're muted,
Sorry,
Kelly.
there we go.
Okay.
You may have been prompted to join a breakout room.
Oh,
If not, um, you might see down at the bottom of your screen, there's a breakout room button. If you press that button, do you see that button? It looks like four
you may
squares.
have to go to the circle with three dots, and I can now see a join breakout room option.
Okay.
So try that, Kathy, Mary, and Ginger. Thank you for helping the Old Colony residents. We'll try to see if there's another way we can directly engage them in person. Thank you so much for helping them participate. Are we able to pause this recording, Kelly?
Okay, looks like we've got everyone back.
It's
That
so
was
exciting.
that was felt much faster than when we did this in person. That was quite a lot to get through. We're going to attempt now to have each of the facilitators kind of summarize what we heard. We are planning to have focus group meetings on a lot of these. So if you feel like you need more time with this material and you want to have a deeper conversation, email me and I'll make sure that you get added to the focus group meetings. I'll also note that I'm having office hours. You can sign up for those and we'll share the link in a minute. But just, I recognize that was some of the rooms were very busy and there was a lot of feedback and that was a lot to get through.
Great. Happy to jump in here, Maren. Thanks so much, everyone, for all the feedback. If you did not have an opportunity to ask a question, again, please contact Maren, or you can add your comment directly to the chat now. But we would invite each of the sort of breakout room leads to share some takeaways and highlights. So maybe we can start with athletics. That was, I believe, Lucas and Sherry. Which one of you want to share out?
It was. I'm happy to share out. So we had a lot of folks join us, as was forecasted in the poll. It was definitely a popular room. I think most of the time we spent giving folks the highlights of what's existing now, what is proposed, what are the materials of those proposed fields, the courts, and how they're distributed across the site. We did take a little bit of a deeper dive into the four proposals for the court configuration on the west side of the rectangular fields. We talked a lot about the skate park. There was great feedback about the skate park and how important it is, what an important demographic it serves, and that it will be the only skate plaza in about 5 miles. And so it needs to be properly sized and accommodate the right skill levels. That was super helpful. We talked a little bit about the splash pad features and how those were going to be integrated. And folks asked a lot of great questions about lighting, about why things were grouped the way they were. So we talked a little bit about how important those fields are to the stormwater management strategy, and that there's a lot of subsurface infrastructure that's being grouped together under some of the larger fields. And overall, when folks voted on the do you support the current layout, we had a lot of yeses. So that was great. But we had a lot of engagement, which I really appreciate.
Amazing. Thank you, Sherry. All right, from breakout room, waterfront and coastal landscape. Regan, would you like to share
Yeah.
out, or Wei Wei?
Yeah, of course. So we had a lot of great feedback. We talked through first, some of the opportunities of the landscape. And folks were really interested and just loved having the walking paths, having an area that was kind of unprogrammed to hang out with family and friends. They loved the idea about learning opportunities, educational signage throughout the coastal landscape. And then actually the hottest item was immersion into nature. People really loved the idea of that. There was a question about lighting, so that's definitely something that we want to look into further as we advance the design. We do have lighting currently proposed along the promenade, but just striking that balance between safety, and not having it lit up all night long. So really, we'll have to, look closer into that as we advance the design. And then as far as the waterfront plaza, people really loved the idea of it and the fact that it would be multi-use, and kind of a split down the middle about the three different designs. But all in all, folks were, we talked about accessibility and material choice, obviously making sure the plaza was accessible. But yeah, I think that was the bulk of it. So really great feedback.
Awesome. Thank you, Regan. All right, I know that there was a lot of action in the resilient berm that I saw on Me Row. That's Jesse, Chris, John, and Ryan. Would one of you want to share out?
I'm happy to start, and Jesse, John, Ryan, please feel free to sort of add and amend. We did have a lot of fantastic feedback, both in the room and on the Miro board. I think there are sort of three broad categories of feedback. A set of comments that really wanted to make sure that in our design of the resilient berm, as well as across the park, that we're really enhancing the ecology of this park overall. Second, that in the work that we're doing, we're making sure that we're not exacerbating any stormwater issues, that we're really addressing stormwater in addition to coastal flood risk as part of this work, and ensuring that what we're doing is really tying into the existing Boston water and sewer infrastructure and overall stormwater plans in the area. And then the third sort of broad category of feedback was really a set of really good design feedback, particularly in the north and south connectors, those two areas of the park that are that flank Moakley Park itself. And we got some really good feedback about the way in which the south connector should look and the way in which the north connector should be designed. Jesse, John, Ryan, anything that I am missing or that you would want to correct from that?
No, I think you nailed it. I heard a lot about the stormwater, and I thought those were good comments and making sure that we're considering everything of how we're changing drainage patterns. So I think that was probably the biggest takeaway I took from the feedback today.
Awesome. Thank you. And then the last group we had here was play and circulation. I'll ask my partner, MJ, would you like to speak to our takeaways?
Sure, yeah, I can do that. So yeah, thank you everyone who came into our breakout room. It was a little bit quieter, but we appreciate all the feedback that we got. We heard some interest on adding more unprogrammed open spaces, especially near Andrews Square, so residents have more flexible areas to go, relax, just enjoy being outside. We also heard some interest in having more open spaces for dogs, especially closer to Day Boulevard. And yeah, just we got general excitement about the different types of play spaces and having it be kind of spread out throughout the park.
Awesome. Great. And the last sort of interactive element we have here before we part for the night is we've got one more Slido for you. This is going to generate a live word cloud. So if you would like to, you are welcome to join our active poll by either scanning this QR code on the screen, or you can add on your smartphone or in your browser, slido.com, slido.com, and entering that number. It should hopefully start generating this word cloud. So your parting words, your parting thoughts, make Moakley blank. What do you want to see? I love magical. Inclusive is very large on my screen right now. Great. Resilient community, welcoming to all, to everyone. Calm, joyful, calm, yeah, possible, safe. Oh, great. Resilient, safe, inclusive. All right, well, we'll let this run for just about 30 more seconds. This will be part of our sort of, again, gathered feedback here as we end the night. But thank you all so much for all the feedback. Really enjoyed the conversations that we had. And I'll end the slides here, turn it back over to Maren.
Yeah, and so we can open it up now for just general questions. I did see we had another comment in just comment about the parking lot. If someone could just make sure that gets added to the mural board so we capture all that feedback together. I think it's a good point. You sort of want to balance moms with strollers and a lot of other things and kid safety. So we'll definitely have to think some more about that. Are there any other questions? I'm seeing a lot of positive comments in the chat here. Great. Any other general questions we can answer while we're all here? Okay. Well, like I said, I am available for office hours. I've got some time tomorrow morning and then sort of each week, the next few weeks to meet with people one-on-one, go over some more information. You can email me directly if you're interested in a particular topic. I think our goal in the next sort of month is to take the feedback we've got, summarize it, work with the community advisory team to think about next steps, and then set up focus groups over the winter. So sort of January, February, start to have some smaller group meetings, sort of try to not cover all 60 acres and all of the sort of incredible things we've included in this plan, but just focus on one at a time. Might feel a little bit more manageable. So we're really looking forward to those conversations. And yeah, we've got the newsletter also. So if you will all be added to that if you've registered for this event. Also, I'll make sure you're up to date on future events. Yes, so we have this recorded. We'll probably need about a week or so to combine, figure out how to sort of combine all of the breakout rooms. But all of the material from the stations and the presentation are actually already on the website because we had posted that just after the Saturday meeting.
So Maren, there was a question about how can we follow up with the project? Can you just, I was going to drop it in the chat, but if you could also just read it, share for the recording as well.
Yeah, so again, if you've registered for this meeting, I'll make sure that you continue to get the newsletter. So that will give updates about any events happening at the park and additional community engagement events. And so that's probably the best way to stay up to date. Miguel, I think you are a skateboarder. One of our focus group meetings we had like 5 years ago was like one of my favorite days as a landscape architect with Armin and his team. So we'd be happy to meet again with the skating community.
Confirmed.
Can we go back to the word cloud and see if there's any more words in there?
Sure, let me see if I can do that with my slides here. The
These are
introduction
great.
of green emerging.
I really love this. Ooh, South Boston's Pride. That's a good
I
one.
know, love it.
This is
Great.
great.
If no one has any more questions, I guess we can, the team can stay on for a few more minutes, but folks are welcome to drop off. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your weeknight to stay on a Zoom call with us. We really appreciate the feedback.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
And thank you to our interpreters.
Mm.
Thank you very much. Thank you for attending. Thank you for helping people.
I think there's a couple more folks.
Yes, that's interpreters.
So can I just say a quick comment or?
Sure.
Oh, no, I think we were just waiting to see if anyone had any additional questions. Thanks so much
Oh.
for joining.
Oh, no, not at all. I just wanted to thank everyone, and I wanted to thank in particular Maren and Jen. We've been in touch. My uncle has a field named after him, and I know I reached out just to initially I thought like, oh, if we could get the sign down, like if the park is, and you guys kept his name, so I just wanted to say thank you for that, and thank you just for the everything. I've gone to the programming at the park, particularly the street stage opera night was just absolutely unbelievable. So I just wanted to say thank you for everything.
And we met, it was Randy, right? That came on Saturday. We met him in
Yes.
person.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Able to be there.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Give some props to Boston Harbor now for the street stage.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be including a quote from Jordan on the website because it had us all in tears.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
Bye, Jordan.
And interpreters, feel free to jump off. I think we're just gonna huddle as an internal team here. Not sure. And we just have Philip Paul. He's not on the design team, right? Oh, there we go.
Nope, there he goes.
I put him in the waiting room. He didn't participate in any of the breakout rooms. I'm gonna actually pause the recording now. So
Yeah, great.
actually, I'm gonna stop.